Welcome to CAN, Caribbean Affiliate News. My name is Siobhan Gobin. Here are the stories that we're following today, July 25th, 2013. An update in the death in India. A post-mortem reveals Guyanese died of cancer of the uterus. Liet slammed in Barbados. In Jamaica, you can't sit for justice. The DPP blames frightened witnesses for collapse of high-profile cases. And in Guyana, President never called opposition terrorists. No apology necessary, says Dr. Luncheon. Details on these headlines and more when we return.
The government say it's all about the food. August the 10th. Foreigners welcome to the land of oil dung. Beers and strong rum, girls hot and can done. It's all about the food. Oil Dung Fest, August 10, Lampama, I'm in the place.
Welcome back to CAN, Caribbean Affiliate News. My name is Siobhan Gobin. The segment of the news is sponsored by Total Caribbean Network. More than 2 weeks after she was informed of her death of her daughter in India, Maureen Scipio, the mother of the deceased, has been provided with answers to her many questions, although most are unwelcomed. The death of 37-year-old Guyanese nurse Lucinda Abiola Solomon Lee was reported to members of her immediate family via telephone on July 7th by her Nigerian husband 3 days after she died. The woman's mother had stated that although she had asked repeatedly what had caused her daughter's death, the man did not respond. In a subsequent Facebook message to the nurse's sister, however, the man relayed all the circumstances surrounding the death of his Guyanese wife. He stated that the nurse had been hospitalized 2 months prior to her death to undergo an ovarian surgery. In the message, the Nigerian identified 3 hospitals in India where the woman reportedly received medical attention, including Safi Hospital, where she underwent the surgery, and Nair Hospital, where she passed. Having received some amount of clarity from the message and a lead into a hopeful investigation, the nurse's mother, Scipio, solicited assistance through the Indian High Commissioner in India, in Georgetown. Contact was made to the Nair Hospital, where it was revealed by a staff on duty that a woman fitting the description of Solomon Lee and bearing a similar name had died at the facility on July 5th. The staff also disclosed that the woman had been taken to the hospital by 4 Nigerians. The body was reportedly still being held in the facility's mortuary, although a post-mortem examination had already been conducted. Still not convinced that the body being held in cold storage at the Nair Hospital was her daughter's, Scipio sought all means that were accessible to her in order to be provided with more details, specifically the findings of the post-mortem and a picture of the body in order to establish its confirmation. This information was provided 2 weeks later, last Thursday, via a post-mortem certificate that was received by the Indian High Commission in Guyana via fax from the Nair Hospital. A picture of the woman's face was also sent along with the death certificate. According to the death certificate, a 34-year-old female listed as Lucinda Alsting Nicholas died at the facility at 12 a.m. on July 5th. The provisional cause of death was stated as being septicemia with bilateral intrapulmonary hemorrhage in an operated case of malignant tumor of the uterus. The certificate stated the cause of death as being natural. With answers to all her questions appearing before her eyes, though Scipio is not satisfied. She said adamant that document does not refer to her daughter. Moreover, she is convinced that the person shown in the pictures does not bear any resemblance to Solomon Lee. She pointed out that the face in the picture could not have been her daughter since her daughter's face is round, And I quote, "This person's face is long. This is not my child. My child has a round face," the woman said. Although still uncertain that the body is that of her daughters, the woman gave her consent to have the body released for burial in India. Against the backdrop of the euphoria of a Liat flight from Barbados landing at Ogle Airport for the first time Monday, the airline was criticized on Barbados radio for poor management and customer service one day later. Speaking on the popular Down to Brass Tacks radio call-in program, talk show host and Caribbean pollster Peter Wickham slammed the island hopper service for overbooking, changing schedules without notification, rerouting a flight to Timry instead of the more convenient Ogle, and inconsiderate treatment of an underage traveler last week. And Wickham, who heads the Caribbean Development Research Services that conducts opinion polls across the region, said his experiences beginning last Wednesday were the most recent in a long line of complaints against the quality of service offered. And I quote, "This last experience was mild. It's just that it is fresh in my mind. I've had worse experiences before," he told reporters following the radio program. Wickham said that he had booked a Liat flight to depart Barbados last Wednesday for Ogle, but on querying Tuesday evening was told that the destination was reverted to Timry. And I quote, "So that was my first disappointment. As you would imagine, people prefer to fly into Ogle," he said. On arrival at Barbados Grantley Adams Airport for departure, he was then told the flight was rescheduled to Thursday because of overbooking that resulted from contraction of flights to Guyana to 2 per day only. Scheduling problems again surfaced on the return flight Saturday when he, along with other travelers, turned up at Timry at 1 p.m. for a 3 p.m. flight, only to be told there was overbooking and he is to depart Sunday. But after being checked into a hotel, he was asked to return to the airport at 8:30 p.m. because a flight was then available. Wickham said he was surprised to see other passengers who were at the airport since 1 p.m. still awaiting the arrival of the aircraft for their flight that night. And I quote, "When the plane landed, everybody applauded. In all of this, my challenge is I find that Liat doesn't really communicate with you," he says. He goes on to say, "I saw in the situation in Guyana on Saturday where they had an underage young man sitting in the airport for almost 6 hours. Then they tell him that he can't come to Barbados because he won't be able to get to Antigua on a connecting flight." Wickham said on radio, explaining that the boy was then rescheduled for a Sunday flight. But the talk show host said that when he landed in Barbados Saturday night, the grandfather was at the airport awaiting the arrival of the youngster. Shareholder countries in Liat, Barbados, Dominica, Antigua and Barbuda, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines recently took out a $65 million loan from the Caribbean Development Bank to boost services through upgrade of aircraft fleet and other capital works. Complaints about the regional air travel service, however, continue to abound. Adding to Wickham's public disclosure of his ordeal, the Barbados Nation newspaper on Monday reported a number of passengers expressing complaints. With at least 3 high-profile cases falling apart in the last 4 months, Director of Public Prosecutions Paula Lelwyn has cautioned her critics against laying the blame on her office or police investigators. Instead, yesterday, Lelwyn, who was speaking with reports after a Supreme Court judge instructed a jury to return a not guilty verdict in one of 2 murder cases against popular entertainer Vybz Kartel, sought to focus attention on what she described as the country's intimidated environment that is scaring away witnesses. She said very often witnesses are refusing to go into the witness protection program and end up returning to the same communities where the accused person resides. Reiterating concerns expressed while speaking with reporters earlier this month, Lelwyn said in some cases, witnesses will accept money from relatives or friends of an accused person to discontinue a case or simply refuse to attend court. Kartel, whose given name is Adidja Palmer, was acquitted along with his 2 co-accused of the murder of St. Catherine businessman Barrington Burton in July 2011, after Justice Brian Sykes refused to allow the statements of 2 witnesses to be admitted into evidence. Sykes said he was not convinced the prosecution had taken enough steps to locate the witnesses. Prosecutors later informed the court they would offer no more evidence against Kartel. This development comes 4 months after 2 other highly publicized cases ended in acquittals, with concerns emerging about the conduct of police investigations. Just days after, in March, Police Sergeant Lloyd Kelly was freed of murder in the St. Anne's Circuit Court in relation to a shooting incident that was recorded on a cell phone device, while reputed gang leader Tisha Miller had his robbery conviction and 15-year prison sentence set aside by the appeal court. Kelly was freed after Justice Marva McDonald Bishop told the jury that the Crown had failed to prove its case. She pointed out that the person who recorded the video was not called as a witness, a medical report was not tendered in evidence, and the doctor who did the postmortem could not be located. These cases, according to noted criminal defense attorney Bert Samuels, are examples of the unprofessional conduct of some police investigators. Cabinet Secretary Dr. Roger Luncheon says there is no need for the president to apologize to the opposition for allegedly likening them to terrorists, since he never uttered the words attributed to him in the press. The Government Information Agency on Friday issued a statement from the Office of the President captioned, "An act of terrorism against the development of Guyana," which was in response to the opposition's vote against legislation connected to the Imela hydropower project the previous day. Dr. Luncheon was asked on Thursday whether there was any intention to retract the statement in light of the opposition party's walkout from a committee meeting on the anti-money laundering legislation on Monday and demand for an apology over the alleged terrorism remark. Indeed, in the televised broadcast of the address, President Donald Ramuta did not make any remark accusing the opposition of terrorism, instead castigating them for holding the project hostage and engaging in the politics of blackmail. According to Dr. Luncheon, the opposition is reacting to an imagined slight when it was pointed out that the act of terrorism caption was included in the OP-sanctioned GINA release and republished in the state newspaper. He acknowledged that there are some faults. So the obvious conclusion is that which was received and sent out was wrong. He added that the president has personally told members of the opposition that he never referred to them as terrorists. You are watching Caribbean Affiliate News. We will be right back.
Since we announced Sign and Drive with zero out of pocket and low monthly payments, cars been flying out of Bronx Honda at a record pace. Whoa! New Accord with zero out of pocket for $249 a month, or new Civics just $199 per month, or save thousands with 0% financing. You never had to leave the Bronx to get the best price on the Honda. Bronx Honda guarantees the lowest price in the Bronx. Bronx Honda, East Tremont Avenue. Visit BronxHonda.com.